Hello. Is that better now? The sound's on now, yeah? Audio. It must be working now. It must be. Dislike so he'll notice. The sound's still not on. Like, I can literally see my voice, like, moving. This makes no sense. I can see. Is it working now? Hello, hello. It's good. Terrible start. I don't know what the hell happened then. But yeah, you guys, let's leave this shit in the past. Let's move on to answering some questions. Now, you guys know how this works. If you want one of your urgent questions answered, send me a super chat. I beg, don't send me nothing big. Like, just keep it like a pound or something's fine enough. You know what I mean? If even 50p, something like that, that's fine. I can't be accepting, no £5 stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I feel too guilty. But like I'm saying, if you want your question answered urgently, send me a super chat so I can focus on that and I'll spend more time answering that question. And yeah, you guys, moving on to the live stream. So if someone wants to do the honors of giving me the first question to answer, that would be amazing. Who wants a question answered? Now, anyway, while I'm waiting for a question, just to let you guys know, the video series that I've been working on, it looks like it's going to become a 4-part thing because, the second part was going to be on the transfer window and the boards. But as I was making the video and as I was doing it, I realized that really this has to be 2 separate videos because there's so much to talk about. It would be like 20 something minutes. So, yeah, that was it. So I had to restructure everything, re-record a lot of stuff to really, add some extra information in and stuff like that. But you guys are definitely going to like it. For the transfer window, I talk about, answer the questions that everyone's always asking, in regards to stuff like, is it the board's fault? Are the board showing a lack of ambition? Conte's relationship with the board as well. Why couldn't we bring in some of these top class players? What was the actual realities as to why these guys couldn't come in? And why is Conte so upset and angry? And honestly, I got into, I think it's like the definitive video that covers like literally everything that you need to know. So I think it's going to be good. I'm planning to release one of those parts out tomorrow. I still haven't decided yet what part I'm going to release. Then the other part will come the day after. And then, on Sunday will be the final part, which is training. And in the training video, that's going to be focused on what actual, training sessions Conte actually uses and why he uses these particular training sessions. I'll give you guys a clue. It's called shadow play. Why does he use shadow play in particular? To obviously, set up his teams. You know what I mean? So I've had to do a lot of research into what this training method actually is, how it works, etc., etc. So, like I said, I'm me. I got to go into detail when I do it. I can't just be, just speaking from the dome with a camera. Because if I did that, it would save so much time. It would be so easy. In a way, it's kind of cynical. I could probably get away with it because not too many people would even clock if what I'm saying is bullshit or not. You know what I mean? But I can't do that. I got to do it properly. But yeah, let me see one of the first questions then. And like I said, you guys, super chat for the urgent questions. And if you want me to spend a lot of time answering your question. All right, cool. Daniel Sheldrake. Do you feel Ethan and Pardew, Hudson-Odoi warrant themselves more game time? Honestly, I think they do. I watched their performance, the checkered performance against Lincoln City, and Pardew really impressed me. And I was different in that game because Trevor Chalobah was actually playing in midfield in this game and Pardew was playing at the back. But, I mean, I can definitely see why Conte would like him, and that's obviously his mentality. He's got a very old school like mentality in Pardew. It's like he's got one of those personalities that he shouldn't be having at 17 years old. But that makes a lot of sense because when he was at Exeter, this guy had already been playing with the first team since he was like 15, 16. So again, he's always been around a lot of older figures. He knew that from young. He had to really, compose himself and be taken seriously. And he definitely has some leadership qualities. I'm not gonna lie. Like I'm pleased with the signing. I think he'd be a good one. Do I think he's our best young defender? No, he isn't. I'd probably say Trevor Chalobah is the best one we have. But I really like Pardew. And this is what I mean, you guys. When I say maybe one player is better than the other one, it doesn't mean that Pardew is shit. No. you just need to realize just how many amazing players that we actually possess. You know what I mean? And I think, I think it was an amazing business to get in Pardew, and I'm really excited to see his development. I really like his personality. That game against Lincoln City, he wasn't shying out from any tackle. He was getting in there, even though these guys are physically bigger and stronger. His commitment, he wasn't shying away. He was getting straight in there, and that's always a good quality to see. And he plays some very nice passes out from deep as well. So, impressive signing. Mohamed Al Jassim, Conte in or Conte out? Oh, you know what? You have to let me finish the video series. Actually, no, I'll just say it now. Me personally, I'm Conte out, not because I don't like the guy or I think he's a bad manager. Far from that. I just think the direction the club needs to go in is completely different. Obviously, managers like Conte and Mourinho. And when I look at Conte, it's not even a personal thing, It's more the fact that it's what he symbolises. Because obviously, with how we've been run as a club over the years, there's a lot of it's been a kind of substandard in a way, where we have success one year, no success the other. There's no continuity, and it's always about this short-term success over long-term rewards. And it's just there's always it's just constant. It's not going to get any better, basically. And I just think that Conte kind of symbolises, everything that's wrong with Chelsea in regards to how the club's run. Not necessarily him. He isn't the reason why Chelsea are how they are. I just think, that type of person we go for doesn't necessarily have the long-term goals for the club, if you know what I'm trying to say. So that's the reason why I'm probably Conte out, because I think with some of the youth we have, some of the players we have, with the general direction of how, football's evolving, I think a completely new, fresh idea is needed for the club. You know what I mean? And I think that, obviously, with Conte, he's kind of symbolises everything that we've done right, but it's in the past. I think we need a completely new direction now. Okay. Leonard, how do you feel about Luis Enrique? Not happy, in my opinion. That's Leonard Kirkezi. And yeah, with Enrique too, again, if we were to bring him in, just as I was making that point about Conte, I feel too that it would be the typical safe option from the board, going for a CV manager, regardless of form. Yeah, he did do amazingly well at Barcelona, but he was smart. And now, of course, he did use a counter-attacking system, but I mean, that made a lot of sense. If you got Suarez, Neymar, Messi, these guys were scoring more than 100 goals each per season when they were playing with each other. So it was the smartest thing, really, to develop a system where these guys would have maximum freedom. They can play on the counter. I mean, those three alone can break through any defence, you know what I mean? So I think that's what really sped out the goals that all three of them scored. And yeah, of course, it was smart. I think that was why Rakitic was signed, because they needed someone with legs in that midfield, because they're not really going to get that with just Busquets and Iniesta. But again, that system got found out because Barca were so dependent on only their front three. So teams knew how to defend off the ball a bit better. And of course, we saw in the Champions League too, they were susceptible to being pressed in pretty high as well, because again, the front three didn't do any pressing. They weren't really running to close people down or anything like that. There wasn't that pressing system at Barcelona. And of course, Enrique, he got found out pretty quickly, and then they really struggled in his last season. And I think I look at his previous form when he was at Celta Vigo. He was actually decent at Celta Vigo. That was when he had Rafinha at the club as well. They were competing as well. I thought they were a decent team. Roma, he didn't really do much, but then with Roma, that was one of his first managerial roles. So maybe it's kind of understandable if he didn't really go to plan. But I think Enrique is he's a funny one. I don't necessarily say he's just bad for the sake of it, because obviously he's a good manager. So is Antonio Conte. Of course, he's a good manager as well. But I think with that direction, I think it's a pretty short-term type of thing. He'll find a formula to get you to win, but they won't find like a philosophy. And I think what the club need right now is a philosophy, a direction that they can follow and use that same model for years to come. Okay. Okay. Okay, some of your guys' names are so hard to pronounce. Like, come on, give a guy a break. But okay, this guy, Xerjin, whatever. Who should replace Conte? Your personal favorite. Now, My personal favourite, and I know it's Abramovich's personal favourite, that is Pochettino. I think Pochettino would sum up everything. Yeah, there's one thing I don't like about Pochettino, this stupidity in regards to how, he'll field weaker teams in cup competitions for some reason. I don't like that mentality. And when you're young and you've got something to prove, these type of cup competitions are important for you. That's how you start to build a legacy, and that's how people start to see you as a bit of a winner as well. I don't like the fact that he kind of gives up these games to focus on the league. But at the same time, I've always felt personally that Tottenham are an overachieving club with some of the players they have. The reason why a lot of people think their players are much better than they actually are is due to the fact that the system and the team they work in is amazing. And I'm thinking Pochettino's been there for his 4th season now, and Spurs are still competing. I was a bit surprised by that, to be honest. It shows you how how amazing his system is. Because I mean, look, Conte, his 2nd spell, halfway through the season. I mean, we were seeing signs since the end of last season that it was starting to get found out, and teams were knowing how to cope against it. With Spurs, it's not like that, and I think that's due to that high press they have, which I think is vital for top teams to have now these days, especially because, I was making this point earlier with Joan in a previous live stream. With modern day football, it's completely different now. Look back 10 years ago when teams were defending, they'd have about 40% to 38% possession. Now these days teams will have 20%. It will even get as low as 15 or 18%. So that goes to show just how comfortable and confident teams are without playing with the ball. Back then, teams wanted to keep the ball. You know what I mean? These days, teams are happy to not play with it at all. So it's a big extreme. So, if you have that high pressing system where you play out possession football, that's what's key now to playing against some of these teams, because then when you really force them back, you limit what they can do on the counter attack. And I wish that's a model that Conte would use at the club. I mean, that won't ever happen because Conte's never been a high press manager since his days at CNA, Juventus. It's always about that mid to low block, and then only closing teams down when they get near to goal, and then hitting them on the counter. That's how he prefers it. I just think necessarily, I don't think it's the best system just yet, because as we're seeing, and I keep making this point, if a Watford and Bournemouth are more confident and comfortable knowing to press high and push a lot of men forward. I mean, this is a mid-table team. This is a Watford team that have been awful this season. If they're feeling confident to do that, that's really letting you know that it's the system that gives these teams the confidence to use that approach. So yeah, that's my long-winded answer. I've always got to be extra long with everything, but yeah, I think Pochettino, and I think one more point with Pochettino too is that he actually improves and develops the players. They've become better. Alderweireld, I used to watch Atletico Madrid all the time. He was really poor for them. It was no surprise they didn't care about him and let him go. Eriksen's become a consistent world-class player now. Dele Alli's getting much better. Harry Kane has become a world-class player. Danny Rose has become a top European class fullback. He improves these guys and they go to another level. Now at Chelsea, if we had had a manager maybe previously that, could have potentially, allowed the players to express himself a bit more to grow and improve, then imagine what Hazard would be like. You know what I mean? Imagine what an Oscar could have turned out to be instead of playing under negative systems where he wasn't really allowed to really improve as a player. If Poch was there, we know that young players or even players we possess now are going to become better. I'd like to see what Kante becomes like under Poch. I think that would be interesting to see. Especially that would mean if he was playing higher up the pitch too. So Pochettino is my number one guy. Okay. Karina Falkgren, is Hudson-Odoi going to make it? Because I remember all the hype around Solanke and Tammy Abraham, but they're not at Chelsea and making a difference. But again, with Solanke, he hasn't played for a year before he signed for Liverpool. I think the fact that he's gone straight in to get minutes in the first team shows that obviously they rate the guy. I think this season's more just like a gelling period for him. With Tammy Abrahams, I kind of need struggle a bit at times because Swansea aren't the same Swansea anymore. They aren't as good in possession anymore, and I knew he'd be struggling a bit, but I guess the only thing I could say that would benefit his development is that he's learning different styles of play that he isn't necessarily used to. So I think Hudson-Odoi though looks like the real deal. Now I can't really say for me the the best young player I've seen at Chelsea, where they've been the 5 best ones I've ever seen: Jeremy Boga, Gael Kakuta, Christensen, Masunda. And I have to say Hudson-Odoi is on that list in terms of, pure talent. And I'm just really hoping, Chelsea mess up Kakuta, and Kakuta messed up himself as well. Poor choices by his agent when it came to finding clubs. With Chelsea, with Boga, they've been messing him up a bit as well. He shouldn't be playing in the Championship for now. I just hope they don't make the third mistake with Callum Hudson-Odoi. I think they should be learning from their mistakes now. I think the fact that he's even played a few first team minutes is encouraging, because for me personally, I think your upper echelon, like your top tier elite players, like, your best 2-3 youngsters in your academy, I feel that they should be part of the squads, and they should be getting the odd 10 to 15 minutes, so then they can build from that. They have that confidence of knowing they can compete, they can play with the team, and the next season after they get a bit more game time, develop them like that. I think for guys like your Izzy Browns or Casey Palmers, whatever, I think the loan system is good for those guys, because then, it's up to them to make the best use of the loan. And also, you might get a surprise every now and then. I think it makes more sense for them. I think with some of our elite players, we should have kept them within ourselves and developed them. But again, we had Mourinho at the time, so that type of shit football we were playing, it was never going to happen. Gasban997, why do you think our transfer policy is so fucking stupid? Why would... You know what, Gasman? That's going to be in the video coming out tomorrow, so you're good. I cover it in great detail, so you're going to enjoy hearing it. Like I said, you guys, if anyone wants a question answered, or if you just want to support the channel, send a super chat, and obviously, yeah, it'll just be appreciated. Okay, let me find another question. Luke Bashian, do you think we should start focusing more on youth, considering they're the only world-class thing we have in our club? And also, do you think Tammy and Ruben will get a chance next year? That's a very good question. Me personally, I feel now it's time to start focusing on them, because again, we've had so many great generations come up in the space of like the past 3 years. We had that Boga Ruben generation. No, before that we had the Bakers and your Nathan Akis, and then your Rubens, your Christensens, your Bogas, and then now you've got your Mason Mounts and your Hudson-Odois and your Sterlings, and there's other guys coming up as well. So again, it's too much talent. It's about time there's an emphasis and focus on using a lot of these guys and really trying to integrate them now, because I think otherwise, with how the loan army is, because it's impossible to really cater specifically to all 40 different players. The football market doesn't work like that. We don't work like that, because we have a lot of there's a lot of things clubs that want to loan our players need to follow. They need to pay a certain amount of games, pay a certain amount of money, pay for a loan fee as well. There's a lot of variations that makes it even more difficult on top, and I just think that some of our best ones have struggled. We've had luck. I thank God. Christensen, I think he's been very lucky. Not in terms of... I think he's been lucky in terms of getting opportunities at the right time, because he's been I've always felt this guy is an unbelievable player whenever I saw him. And I always knew he was the only one I was really confident that would be a first-team Chelsea player. I think it helps that he's a defender. At this club, we tend to give more defensive players opportunities than attacking ones, but I just knew from day he was going to be that. But there's a lot of other guys coming up now, and I just think that it's time to focus on them. And I love to see that model where we do that, and then we'll spend your 70 millions on proper world-class talent that the youth academy can't really fill up. That's how it should be. It's the most cost efficient, and then we don't buy your backers and stuff, and we don't buy your Zappacosta's. We don't really improve the team in any way. And I think Ruben, it depends. It really depends. I like to see Ruben back, but I want to see him playing. I don't just want to see him come back to the squad. I've always felt if Ruben left, imagine if he went to Liverpool. That would be pretty exciting. Him, Keita, and whoever plays in behind them. And Arsenal, I think he'd even do well at Arsenal as well. I know that Man City were looking at Ruben. I was told that they had sent scouts to games to see some of his games when before he got his injury. Who knows? Obviously, the fact they're looking at him, they like his characteristics. With Ruben, this guy has been world class for. There's a reason why the club had to pay this guy 45,000 a week at 17, because he was gonna go to Barcelona. That's how close it was. So many top teams were after this guy that the club were forced to pay 45k for a 17-year-old. That's a ridiculous amount of money. You would have thought with the money involved too that it'd been greater care and emphasis on actually developing him right. But then, the bottleneck comes from the manager at the time, which is Mourinho. So if it's a manager that only cares about how you defend off the ball and defensive structure, and he doesn't care about, attacking or, making plays or anything like that, naturally a lot of these good players won't get an opportunity. Okay, let me move on. I'm going to be doing this live stream for like an hour, so... Okay, Gasman, thanks for the super chat. Fair enough, Geese. Looking forward to the vid tomorrow. Yeah. Yeah, honestly, you'll like it. I literally go into detail. Like I feel like I covered everything, because it took me a long time just to make the scripts. It wasn't quick to do it. So yeah, I think you'll definitely enjoy it. And thank you for the super chat too. It means a lot. So thanks. And if anyone else wants to send a super chat, again, it helps support the channel, and I can answer your question. Okay, what other questions are there? There's a lot coming in. Okay. Lord Giroud. Do you believe the loan system is a success? That is a very good question. And after I do this video, I'm planning on doing in-depth pieces. I like to maybe start producing at least one per week. And the loan army is definitely something I really want to cover, because there's so many factors. I think there's so many bottlenecks in terms of why it's not as efficient as it should be. Now, I'll say, to keep it brief, and I think I made this point before, but look at Lewis Baker when he was at Vitesse. This guy scored 16 goals in the league, one of the top scoring midfielders in Europe, regardless that he was, under 23. He was one of the top scoring midfielders in Europe. He single-handedly won Vitesse their first ever trophy in their history, 125-year history. And personally, what I would have loved to have seen was that the club were like, you know what? We can use Lewis Baker now to try and sign more feeder clubs, because I think that's what we need. I think that's what Man City are doing very well. And I think that's why in the future it's really going to pay off for them, because Man City's youth aren't as good as ours just yet. The final last year proved it. Foden's a good player, but I think Foden is like Man City's Josh McEachran. You know what I mean? I know Man City's, I think, under 14s are their big top generation that are going to do bits when they finally come. So they've got a lot of plans for them. So, expect to hear a lot about them in the next few years. But I think, Man City individually, they're not there just yet compared to our players. We're past them on a different level. And but in the future, with how they've got so many feeder clubs, that's really going to benefit some of the better players coming up in the years to come. And I just felt that that's one thing we definitely don't have. For example, how many times have players gone on loan for, at Tammy Abraham's at Bristol City? What, no other Chelsea player could have gone there? We're looking at Christensen. Now, Borussia Mönchengladbach did want to bring in Jake Clark-Soll, but, we fucked that up for him. But, he was there, Christensen was there for 2 whole years. Now, really, there should be an emphasis on having these type of relationships where there's obviously success stories. Continue to build them and also look for other ones. I keep making this point. I'd love to see us get a Portuguese team, because I think with that league in particular, it focuses on attacking football. It's got that Latin atmosphere there as well, tactically diverse. And I think this is why, if you look at the Portuguese league, there's no way really that league should be producing so many, 40 million pound players. It shouldn't be producing, it's basically like the SPL in the sense that you have your top 4 clubs or top 3 clubs, and they're much better compared to everyone else. It's literally always a 3-tier race between Sporting, Benfica and Porto. But these 3 clubs consistently produce world-class players that have gone on to get some of the highest fees ever for their positions. Now, to me, it tells me that how amazing the league is right there. And I think that we should be looking to harness that, especially when a lot of these clubs could do with the financial resources. Imagine they're getting 2-3 of our top talents. They're not paying any wages. They've seen, oh, wow, this guy helped this club, win a trophy and then, help them get into Europe and blah, blah, blah. Financially, it's going to reward them even more. I think that's the future we should be going into, to make the loan army more efficient, because right now it's not. And we've got a lot of top players which some people are thinking aren't as good now, because unfortunately, due to how the system is, they haven't really been able to see the results just yet. And I think, something needs to be happening with that. And I'm going to do a video in the future really going into detail with that. Sideshow Bob the Rent Boy. Yeah, I always like reading your comments. That's the thing with me. Yeah, sometimes on Twitter, I get this, some people like to see me as like, I think I'm some celebrity fan or some bullshit. Like, I don't have any ego. I don't, I don't expect everyone to always agree with everything I say. But at least at least I try and think about what I say. You know what I mean? I'm not going to say anything half-assed. Sideshow Bob's an example. I don't agree with everything he says, but, everything's always respectful. But yeah, hey Nini, of our previous managers, who got sacked or failed, who do you think had the most potential to do something if they were given more time? That is a really, really good question. And the first person I think of immediately is Andre Villas-Boas. I just felt it was just utter stupidity, because when we signed this guy, we spent nearly 16 million to bring him. That's a world record fee to sign a manager, to bring him in. That's a ridiculous amount of money. What Andre Villas-Boas did at Porto was some football manager shit. The way they were winning 5-0 so easily, they dominated in Europe. I mean, it was just ridiculous what he was doing there. I was really excited when I was young, when I first saw him introduced. I was like, wow, I've been watching this guy. I've been watching Porto play. I've seen all their Europa League games. This is going to be exciting. The football they're playing. Wow, the future's looking bright. We spent all this money on that guy, only to be like, you know what? We're not going to buy a single one of the targets you want. You're not going to get Falcao. You're not going to get Hulk. You're not going to get Martini. You're not going to get a lot of these guys. And to make it even harder for you, we want you to phase out the likes of Drogba's and Lampard's, etc. And it was just like they gave him such an impossible job. Didn't give him any money, any funding. No wonder he got sacked, because this guy's a high pressing manager. That's how he got his success. And I think rightfully so. I mean, of course, when you're young, he was like 33. You're going to have a bit of arrogance into your system, especially when you won every single thing in your first season. You could say, I mean, funny Porto in the Champions League, but it was, probably a more impressive season than what Mourinho had done at Porto. I mean, obviously minus the Champions League. And it's just like, and then the season after, that's when we spend money bringing in Hazard and Oscar and everyone. And it was like, if only Villas-Boas was in charge of your Hazards, your Oscars, etc., they'd be better players. Plus, the long-term stability of the club would be much better right now. And he's the only guy which I just think the club really, really messed up everything. You know what I mean? So he's the guy that things could have been very different if he's signed in the right circumstances. Okay. Craig Bryan, thank you for the £1 super chat, man. Appreciate that. Thanks a lot for that. Get some of these questions in. Okay, what's another good one? Everyday Monday. Only Chelsea would buy Barkley to restrict Ruben Loftus-Cheek. Yep, they did do that. End of the day, it's cynical, but it's an investment thing. And I think every year we like to make an investment signing. I know Papi Javogi got a lot of criticism, so did Michael Hector, but they were for the loan army. They weren't signed for the first team. I know at the time, because we didn't bring in a defender, it was very easy to use that as a scapegoat and a target. But again, we always make signings like that. Your Kylian Hazard was another one. Ross Barkley was another one, because the club are thinking 15 million for an English international, and he's 24. If we flip this guy next season, we're getting double the money for him. You know what I mean? So it's an investment one, in my opinion. Okay, Daniel. No, I think I answered one of yours already. Okay. What else? Michael Daniel, think we should have waited a season to get AVB. I mean, at the time, again, with football in particular, there's so many clubs. I mean, imagine if, a Barca were looking for a manager the season after, and he has another fantastic year. sometimes you need to go in for these people early. So again, it's all hypothetical, but who knows? Oh, Christian Valadez, thank you for the super chat, man. Should Tammy be a backup or get another loan next season? And if another loan, what club would you like to see him go to? Now, for me personally, I feel Tammy does need another loan because, again, I don't think it's good for him to be coming to play backup, not getting too many minutes. I think that's the key thing. I think he needs a better style of club than Swansea. I don't think they necessarily play to his strengths as much. Personally, I'm liking seeing all these English guys going abroad, especially the Bundesliga. Obviously, Lookman went to RB Leipzig recently. He scored a winner in his debut. That's impressive. This was a guy that wasn't getting as much game time for some baffling reason. Everton, imagine Calvert-Lewin is playing over Lookman. Who knows? I would like to see him go to the Bundesliga. I think it's one of probably the best league for a young player to develop in because it's tactically diverse. It's an emphasis on using youth. You'll get game time, and there's a combination of strong teams, poor teams, and decent teams as well. So you get a very good footballing education, and I think there's no surprise why so many youngsters are flourishing in the Bundesliga. And I just think, Sancho's and Lookman have set the wave by moving there. I think it's about time more English people follow them because Germany is a very nice place to live in. They all speak English. I mean, it's not a hard transition, to be honest. I'd love to see maybe him go to like a Hamburg. I mean, RB Leipzig, I mean, they've got Timo Werner. I don't think they're gonna, they wouldn't want a loan guy. They'd have to sign him if they wanted to have him. You know what I mean? But that brings up an interesting question as well. I don't see what's wrong with having buyback clauses. It works. We've seen what Real Madrid and Barcelona have been doing over the years with buyback fees, and honestly, that the young player gets obviously the structure, the development around him, where he can improve, and then you can get back a top class player for peanuts afterwards. Because you agree the future fee you're going to pay anyway. And Real Madrid basically took the piss with that. They sign back Morata, and then they flip him for double the money a season after. So I think maybe in conjunction with the loan army, that could make even more money and profit for the club as well. So I definitely think it's something to look into. And yeah, I think we've done that recently with Nathan Ake. He's got a buyback fee, so that's going to be interesting to see him coming back. He's been one of the most impressive defenders in the Premier League so far this season. That left-hand side is going to be a position that's needed. He's getting good game time. He's already comfortably Bournemouth's best player. The fans love him. I think hopefully Nathan Ake could be that model bearer. We can start to see more of these guys getting, buyback clauses. I think that would be the best thing. Preferably, I like to see Tammy have that because I like him to be at a club where he's playing consistently for 2 years, hopefully abroad, because that's going to encourage more clubs to go in for him. You know what I mean? That's the beauty of how it works, because clubs don't want to have a guy that's only going to be there for a year without any guarantees. They can't afford to have that, So I think it just works out better, to be honest. And also, thank you, Christian, for the super chat, man. Really appreciate that. Okay. So Sayara Wilkins, sorry, my pronunciation is so bad. Nini, who'd be your favourite director of football position? Now, if some of you guys had watched a live stream, I think it was yesterday, with me and Joe Tweedy, 2 days ago, we did talk about, obviously, the director of football candidates. I know he's released an article, which I'm going to post up afterwards, and I really like Luis Campos. Now, I really like him because he seems to have found this very unique formula and data analytic algorithm or whatever he uses to really analyze players. And what he did at Monaco, I think, was a testament. I mean, Bernardo Silva was a guy that was a left back for Benfica at the time, Carrasco's that been signed. Even a Bakayoko Lamar when he was at Cannes. Mendy when he was at Marseille wasn't even a fully first team player. I mean, bringing in Mbappe early, Martial from, I think they signed him from Lyon when he was a teenager. This guy has generated incredible amounts of money, and he's produced some of the most exciting young players in the world. He's now Chelsea have been talking to him, but he's gonna cost money because again, he'd have to license his program that he uses with the club because there's no way the club could own that, and obviously because of his results, he is gonna cost money. I think it's worth it long term, especially if you know he's got a history of signing, future world class players as well. I think it makes more sense, and I think I'd love to see Luis Campos become the new director of football, and I'd like to see maybe Drogba get a role, maybe an ambassador, like an ambassador role of the club as well, because I agree with Joe Tweedy in the future. I'd like to see us have that Bayern Munich type of model where a lot of our ex-players have roles in the club. I'd love to see Ashley Cole, Ballack, Essien, Drogba, Terry having roles at the club. I think that would be good to see. Okay, what other questions? Lord Giroud, thank you for the £2, man. Thanks a lot. Really appreciate that. Okay. Mohamed Al Jassim, favourite player in the squads. Oh, that's a good one. You know what? I've always had a soft spot for David Luiz. I'd have to say Eden Hazard. He's like one of the main motivating reasons to watch Chelsea play live. If I'm being honest, it's with me. I'm kind of like you could say I'm like a purist when it comes to football. I like to say I'm like a romantic as well. I love to see skill and flair and brilliance. You know what I mean? From deftness of a first touch to the intelligence when you see what positions he runs into. The effortless, how effortless it is for him to control the ball, and Hazard's that type of like generational player where it's like, wow, when I'm older, I'm really going to remember some of the things he did at the club, and I think he's probably my favourite player at the club. But I'd say close one is David Luiz. I think, yeah. I just like his character. I like that he's a footballer as well. Yeah, I know he does make some individual mistakes. I don't think it's as bad as people necessarily think it is, but again, I like that he's a footballer. I mean, who knows? Imagine a hypothetical where we're playing a completely different system. Where, let's say we focus on possession football. What would David Luiz? What could he have been playing under, like a Pep Guardiola, for example? You know what I mean? I mean, that would have been interesting to see. Okay. Evra back in the league. Thoughts? Evra, you know what? I've always felt that really he's been one of the best fullbacks in the past 10 years. I feel that there's certain players that don't really get that credit. They get maybe forgotten about is the word. I think Evra's been one of the like he's up there with like being like like an Ashley Cole in terms of the consistency and how good of a player they were. And I think Evra's definitely in that category. He left United, was then amazing for Juventus as well. Him going to West Ham, typical West Ham signing, isn't it? Sign guys that aren't going to do anything, give them ridiculous wages. But, I mean, there's a reason why clubs like that stay in the level they're in, Okay. Mukhtar Ibrahim, would Maurizio Sarri be a better option than Enrique? Now, with Sarri, again, I have seen a bit of Napoli play. I kind of have an idea of how they play, but I don't know them enough to really give proper thoughts on Sarri. I'm not one of them guys. I'm not going to pretend I've seen every single game, every single player. I mean, I like to watch a lot to get an idea, but I haven't seen enough of Sarri. But I'm hoping as the season goes on, I'm going to watch a few of their games. I'll go to Reddit to find some full games as well to watch and get an idea really of how they play. I mean, I've seen, for example, recent memory was the games against Man City. I thought it was a very good team, very good football. Those quick transition passes as well. They keep the ball very nicely. I think he's obviously a talented manager, but when it comes to the things like his tactical decision making or his squad rotation, all those type of things, I don't really know too much about how he is in that regards. You know what I mean? So. I think maybe that could be actually a good series. All the managers were linked with, like your Enrique's, your Sarri's, your Tuchel's. Maybe I could do like a 10-minute video on each of them, using some footage and start breaking down who they are exactly and maybe I probably might do something like that, to be honest. Because I'm happy now. When I did that tactical analysis vid, I was just happy to see that, I can actually use footage now, and I found a way to get past it. Because so many, I mean, even I released that video, fucking, you know how long it took me because it constantly kept getting blocked. I literally spent one whole day just changing tiny bits and re-uploading it. I mean, it's rendering is 20 minutes, and then processing on YouTube another 15 minutes on top. It's literally 35 minutes every time. I must have done it like 8 times before I finally got it out. So that's why it came at 1. Oh wow, thanks you guys. Craig Bryan. I watched your channel for a while and you make sense, true to the heart and passionate about our club. One question, do you agree of the sale of Kevin De Bruyne? No, I don't agree on the sale of Kevin De Bruyne. It was so frustrating. It really was. I always knew he was a great player. I mean, I remember when we first signed him in 2012 and it was he was at Genk. Of course, I had to use some YouTube highlights, but immediately, the one thing I noticed on him is that this guy's passes on the counter-attacks are amazing. He was like 19 years old. I know they won the league then. This guy plays every single right pass, every decisive pass. He's making the right decision. He's not messing up. No matter if it's from 5 yards, 20 yards, if it's from in his own half, he's doing the right things. I was like, right, this is a player that we've got on our hands. I mean, it's some random guy I never heard of. Watching his clips, I was like, wow, this guy's impressive. And I'm just happy that he's showing how world class he is. And this is what I mean. I hope the club are going to try and learn from their mistakes and really try to, not make these same things happen anymore. Because really, the crazy thing is we should be having Hazard, De Bruyne in the middle, and obviously Salah. With an Oscar fighting to get in the first team, he'd be a much better player then. And who knows, even Mata. You know what I mean? So, it's a shame, but, top player. And, I got some more. Joe Conte as a blue, great content. Thanks a lot, man. Really appreciate that. Thanks, man. Carlos Mendoza. Okay, why do we settle for wingers like Pedro and Willian? Why not go for world-class attackers on the wings who can create? Again, thanks a lot for the super chat, and that is a good question. Why do we not? And how can I answer that in a very good way? Why do we settle for wingers like Pedro and Willian? Why not go for world-class attackers on the wings who can create? That is annoying, and I think the thing I can think of is the managers at the time, due to the systems they're playing, maybe they're looking at specific targets. For example, with Willian, you're getting very good work rate, and if you're Mourinho, you're thinking, okay, it's more vital that I have a Willian over, let's say, like a Douglas Costa, for example, because he's going to track back, he's going to help support the fullback, he's going to help me with that 6 at the back defensive structure I like to do. That's going to be more beneficial for my idea of how football should be. I think with Pedro too, again, that's a good one. I wasn't really excited. Yeah, we beat United at the signing of him. I wasn't too excited of that signing. I'm not too sure, but again, it's weird because again, before we signed those guys, we were signing Hazard, Oscar, De Bruyne, Moses, a lot of these top class young under 23 players. You know what I mean? And this is where I think personally Emanalo needs to get credit, because it was his whole vision. We scoured the whole Belgian market before any other club had got their hands or scouts there. We already signed the best players already. He had created that structure and vision for the club that we'd have that. Look at what Man City are. They're going to have that same squad for 5 to 8 seasons. We already did that a few years ago. But again, this is where it comes down to the board, and then this lack of footballing communication between how it's supposed to be run. And it is really frustrating because really, on FIFA, I've got De Bruyne, Salah and Hazard, so and Lukaku up front, so it's like, it's just frustrating because we had these guys for free, and it's no surprise that all of them are world-class playing for other clubs. Thank you guys again for the super chats. Really appreciate that. Thanks. Okay, some more questions. Let me find some. Sorry, you guys. It's hard because I've got so many. So it's like, I need to find some good ones. Okay. Bakayoko fan bloods. Nice one. Okay. Do you think Batshuayi will be a success in the future? I think he has the physical attributes, such as Drogba, but he needs to work on his pace and game intelligence, but he'll gain that at Dortmund. Honestly, with Mitchell, the whole future of Mitchell is going to depend on what type of football are we going to be playing in the future. If we play that style where it's about, high pressing, possession, and our strikers just have to focus on making runs in the box and being penalty box strikers, then Mitchell has a future, and we've got a potential world-class striker in our hands. Because again, Mitchell's always been a penalty box striker. You guys hear me constantly say that all the time. It's the reality. I'm so happy with this move to Dortmund. I was telling you guys it's going to be amazing because with Aubameyang, this guy became the best penalty box striker in the world. Mitchell's at a club that needs that type of striker already. Got 2 goals in his debut and an assist. He's going to keep scoring even more. Wouldn't be surprised if Dortmund tried to keep him afterwards. Again, I wouldn't even mind. Imagine we had a buyback fee. Okay, Dortmund, alright, you give us 30 million. You or 40 million, you agree for us to buy him for 45 million in 2 years. By that time, Mitchell's going to be 25, 26 years old. I mean, can you imagine that? I mean, Dortmund recently, Lewandowski, then Aubameyang after, potentially Mitchell. Imagine, would you guys not be happy having a Mitchell coming back 2 years later that's been playing first team for Dortmund over that time, becoming a better player, developing, playing week in, week out, scoring goals for fun. Then he's going to come back in 2 years for a bargain fee. I mean, that's the type of common sense deals I'd like to see the club go down and approach, because I think it benefits the player, it benefits Dortmund, and more importantly, it benefits the club. Navjima, Nini, sorry, missed the start. If we go 4 at the back, we will struggle for a left back as Alonso's positioning is awful. Could he be a third midfield? Okay. Could he be a third midfielder in a midfield 3 like Pep does have left foot? And you know what? I think for us to ever see that, you literally need to have a Pep Guardiola-like manager. Honestly, with Alonso, I can't even really say his positioning. I'm going to release that video as I'm saying, that series. The last part's going to be focused on training. As I said, there's this thing that Conte really likes called shadow training, which he's a big advocate for. Beforehand, Arrigo Sacchi was another guy that was an advocate for that style of football. I'll go into detail so you understand. I can't really say it's got anything to do with the positioning of the players. Now, with Alonso, for me, it's always been that he's not very good one-on-one when it comes to defending, and he's got no pace and he's got very slow acceleration, so he can't really cover a lot of ground quickly. So, I think he can play as a left back, and you guys got to think too. If imagine for example we are playing more like Bayern Munich. Ideally, I'd like to see us approach that Bayern Munich type of style. They've got that strength and physicality. They're very solid at the back, but then they know how to break down teams and they press high. I don't think it's hard for us to follow a similar model. If I'm being honest, we've got the best defense in the league. We've got Kante. That guy alone is a foundation to do much better things. We've got Ian and Hazard. It's not too hard, I think, to really adopt that style and really improve on it, and obviously let it go in the future. People like Alonso will have places in that team, because again, if Alonso's playing as a fullback, that means that he doesn't have too much attacking responsibility because he's a wing-back. So a lot of times he does have to provide that threat, which we know he can't really do. You know what I mean? If he's playing as an attacking fullback, though, that means he'll have a winger out wide where he'd be able to push up, because then he has support around him to play off. You know what I mean? So that's the benefit of that. So in a way, he wouldn't be necessarily as exposed, if you know what I'm saying. But again, it all depends on how the manager sets the teams up off the ball and with the ball. So I definitely think it's nothing to do with his positioning for his poor form. It's not his poor form, but his limitations as a player. Okay, SJK Boy 21. 3 transfers you would like to see happen in the future. Oh, that's a good question. I think number one player. I mean, I've always wanted a player on the right hand side that has a left foot that can cut in. Now, we're linked with 2. Leon Bailey, that's legit. We're definitely linked with him. Made the bids in January. Leverkusen weren't having it. They're not going to sell him in January. Of course, rumours are coming out that Bayern are interested. Again, but at the same time, Leon Bailey kind of has a relationship with Chelsea already. First of all, His dad, you guys saw that video I released a few months ago. Obviously, his dad had a good relationship with Emanala at the time. They've been pushing Leon Bailey to go. His dad would like Bailey to sign because his dad also has a lot of other young Jamaican talent on his cards. So he'd like to have that relationship where he can move some of his young players to become part of our youth squads because that would benefit him more. And of course, we've all seen that photo of Leon Bailey in the Chelsea training shirt a few years back when he was young. I think if it was out of Bayern or Chelsea, he'd pick us. I think he'd be a great signing. I'd like to see him play on the right, but he can cut inside. If that wasn't the case, Riyad Mahrez is my guy as well. I've always thought, if, for example, if I'm Bayern and Robin's getting old, I'd be buying Riyad Mahrez because really he's as close to Robin as there is so far. That ability to cut inside, play people in, very diverse as well. The right hand side is, or if not Kennedy, this guy really, it's no surprise now he's playing further up the pitch as a winger. He's been getting man of the matches for Newcastle. I'd love to see him develop on the right hand side. This guy could be our own Hulk. But again, preferably my first choice is Mahrez. I'd like us to sign a striker, but there's this guy called Arturo Martinez, but it looks like he's going to Inter Milan. He's Aguero-esque, low centre of gravity, fantastic dribbling, fantastic finishing, can beat a man. Good strength as well, a nice good core. He's another type of striker like that I like to see, I've never understood why we can't go for the Agueros or Gabriel Jesus's. Why do we have to go for Giroud's? I want us to move away from that type of model because as fans, it would just be more enjoyable seeing more skillful players playing for the club, That's another guy I'd like to sign. Of course, left back, my dreamer was Alexandro. I've given up on that now. He'll be going to Paris Saint-Germain. I'm happy with Emerson, though. I think he's going to be a surprise. But for my third signing, who would I like us to... I don't even think I've thought of it that far. I've literally just thought of those two positions, really. Zaki, Martinez is a sick guy. And, it always kind of annoys me because I kind of see it like this. If your Atletico Madrids and your Inter Milans can buy these guys for cheap when they're young, why can't Chelsea do that? You know what I mean? If you can play for Atletico and if you can play for Inter, you can play for Chelsea. Why can't we have that strategy where it's like, think about, if he was 25 million in today's market, that's really nothing. That's like, 15 million or 10 million these days, You'd be getting your money back, or most of it back, and it's not really that much of a risk. You wouldn't be commanding crazy wages as well, I don't know why we don't approach some of those types of players, sign the future world-class players before they become world-class and they cost 100 million. Because when Inter Milan, he's going to be there. He's got the potential to cost more than Icardi. So, I don't know. I just like to see that. Lord Giroud, because those tall, lanky players are manager signings. Yes, they are. 100%. I need to get Football Manager. Yeah, I still haven't got it yet. I need to. Okay. Quality 1, Isco should be a priority signing for a potential replacement for Fabregas. Maybe. Isco to me, he's got to play further up close to goal. That's where he is. I don't really want him deep. If we move... Actually, you know what? I'd love to see like a Thiago come to Chelsea. Because of course, if he came, that means the style would have to be different. And I think a Thiago kind of transforms the style immediately. Now, reports are kind of coming out slyly that Bayern would consider selling Thiago if a good offer came. I think if that guy's available, he's definitely a Fabregas replacement. Plus, he's got the dribbling abilities of a David Silva as well. I'd like to see us go in that type of direction where we approach players of that caliber and just completely change the style. Can you imagine a link-up play with freaking Hazard and Thiago and others? Come on. It's just... Come on, that would just be ridiculous. 4-3-3, yeah, and the reason why I say 4-3-3, it's going to be one of those timeless formations. It is a timeless one. There's so many variations, there's so many ways to adapt it. It's a formation where attacking quality players can thrive in. I think it makes a lot of sense. Isco would be fun as well. I've always felt Isco is like Hazard without pace. I think their dribbling style is kind of identical anytime I watch them both play. You know what I mean? I just think that he doesn't have the pace or the acceleration of Hazard. If he did, maybe Real Madrid would respect him a bit more, you know. Everyday Monday. Yes, I like Everyday Monday, man. Nini, man, stop playing with my... Nini, man, stop playing my heart. Thiago to Chelsea would be unreal. Yeah, it would be, you know. Imagine Thiago, Ruben, Kante. I think we'd have fun with that midfield, you know. Oh, Isco, Kante, Thiago. Yeah, that would be fun. Okay, Josh Banks. You keep speaking of Lautaro Martinez. Could you possibly do a vid analysing him? I've heard of him on my career. Yeah, people keep saying that on FIFA he bangs and on Football Manager he's really good. I never knew that. I don't know, he looks like he's going to Inter Milan. I don't know if there'd be any point. I mean, we haven't been linked with him at all. It's just my preference, to be honest. Maybe on my personal channel I could, because I want to start doing more vids for that. Zaki Mahmoud, give me your WhatsApp. Wow, this guy, that's how you get numbers. Wow, you get straight to it, don't you? Not even please, not even let me get you a drink first. Nothing like that. Give me your WhatsApp. Wow. Yeah, wow. That's how I know this guy's probably getting a lot of girls. Getting straight to the point. Goku, Super Saiyan 4, XX. We should play 4-5-1-2. I don't think we have the wingers, really, to use that. I mean, I wouldn't want to see Pedro playing deep, playing as a winger. That would give me nightmares. Remember that time at Everton a couple of seasons ago where I'm trying to forget that. I'm trying to forget that. Okay. Bojan Milanovic, what do you expect from Alvaro Morata? Is Hazard staying? Now, what I keep saying about Morata, you know what? I'm not going to lie. Me personally, I did want Lukaku to come in the summer because I think Lukaku is a guy in 2 years' time, people are going to speak about him very differently. And you know, I'm always about that long-term type of thinking as well, you know. This guy's only 24. I think in another 2 years, I mean, he's 26. I think he'd be even better. It would have been fun to see the link up. I mean, one thing I really like about Lukaku was the fact that his first time layups are very good pass and move. You know what I mean? I think that physical presence in itself is kind of extraordinary because he's too strong. You know, that's always an advantage where you could develop and get better at things. But with Morata, again, he wasn't really a preference because I knew what was going to happen. You know, his finishing was always poor. It's his mentality too. He's always been a backup second choice option. You know, he hasn't really shown. I don't even think he believes yet he's a first choice option. I like his attributes. I think he's a very good player. I like when he comes deep. I like how he can beat a man. Maybe if he played a different system, you know, I think maybe Morata would even strive more. When he was at Madrid, he wasn't necessarily dropping deep and playing like Benzema. There was a reason why Morata didn't play as much at Madrid, and that was the fact that, like I'm saying, he wasn't Benzema. And we know with Benzema's about dropping in deep so Ronaldo can fill in the space, and that's how he was getting all his goals. Now, Morata wanted to be getting on the end of goals, you know what I mean? So obviously that would be affecting Ronaldo in a way. But maybe it's no surprise that he did get 20 goals playing a much more freer role where it was all about his off-the-ball movement instead of, you know, that creative side of dropping deeper and linking people in. This is why I keep stressing. I'd like to see maybe a new manager with a different style where we can do that, you know. For example, with Harry Kane, do Spurs constantly have to hit the ball to him and his back's to goal every single time? No, he can do that when it happens, but that's not the emphasis for the system, like how it is for Conte. And it's no surprise why he scores so many goals. I think maybe Morata could do with something like that, but at the same time, some of the chances he's missed have been criminal, you know. But I think there's a player in there, but as I said, patience. We need to give him another year, at least. Okay. Sayara Walkins, imagine Chelsea playing that disgusting Spanish 1-2 triangular passing, leaving burly Brexit defenders fuming their shit out. That would be amazing. Oh my god, I'd love to just see that, you know. Dyche just scratching his head, not even knowing what the fuck to do. That would be a sight to see. Whack. That's what a name. Whack. Okay, how good is Trevor Chalobah? Have you watched much of him? I've not seen any of him, but I've heard so many people say he is better than Nathaniel. Chalobah is a very, very good defender. Like I keep saying, he is the best young defender at the club. Now, you know what? I'm going to say this now. okay, I'm saying it now because I'm not keeping this Q&A live stream. You know, it's going to be gone after a few hours. Now, there's a reason why he hasn't been getting looked into or playing, and that's because he hasn't signed a new contract. Now, you guys, or for some of you that don't remember, the reason why Chalobah left was due to the fact that Conte had personally gone to him to say that I want you to go on loan again. Then Conte went to Marina. Emanalo was left out of the loop, which was kind of disrespectful in a way because, you know, Emanalo is the guy that's, you know, in charge when it comes to these loan moves, you know. When Chalobah heard that, first what he was thinking, I can't be having another loan move at my age. He wasn't happy, so what Chalobah did do, there's a reason why he left for 5 million. What he did was he leaked out the clause in his contract. The club was trying to keep his clause a secret, so no other clubs could find it because they could be commanding another Nathan Ake fee. You know what I mean? Him and his agent and or his person, I don't know who exactly, but someone leaked out that clause in his contract, and that's why an offer came originally from Southampton. They even offered 6 million to try and bring him, but then Chalobah decided to go to Watford instead because he'd already been there already, and he thought it's in London, and you know it's the best place really to go. Now, because of that, his brother hasn't signed a new contract, and this is a guy that's been scouted a lot. I know that Man City have been looking at him as well, and it looks like potentially he could be leaving. And the club is still trying to get him to sign a contract. They're still working behind the scenes to try and fix things. But it looks like he'll be another guy that could be leaving in the future, it seems. But you know, this guy is, you know, an amazing defender, very composed on the ball. Again, he was playing midfield against Lincoln City, can play out, reads the game very. That's what I mean. He reads the game very well. That's what I like. I kind of think he reads the game a bit better than Ampadu. I think Ampadu will definitely get there because, you know, with the coaching that we have at this club, he's only going to improve and become better. But he's definitely got something special about him. And, you know, I mean, it's a shame. You know, I don't understand sometimes with these contracts, it's kind of like slavery in a way. But, you know, I don't morally agree with it that much. But it looks like you won't be here for too long, you know. But again, football things change, you know what I mean? So let's see what happens. And also, you guys, again, if anyone wants to send a super chat, if you want your question answered, you know what I mean? That'll make my life easier because I know what to answer straight away. And obviously, it supports the channel, and I appreciate that. So, okay. Zaki Mahmood Nini, Callum Hudson-Odoi to replace Pedro Willian, or sign a Bailey Mahrez or Malcolm type player. I was asking my friend about Malcolm, and you know, he's telling me that Malcolm isn't ready yet to be playing for a top team. A lot of times he goes quiet during games. He can be a bit too one-dimensional too. He doesn't always play the right pass when he needs to. I think with players like that, it's best for them maybe, you know, this is why clubs like Dortmund are around, you know. You go to clubs like that, play for a year or two, then you get signed for 50 million, you know. It's not good to go to a big club when you're not complete just yet because they don't have time or patience for you. So you know, when he was telling me about Malcolm, you know, I was like, okay, you know, I kind of understood the realities. I think Mahrez, in a way, I don't know. What do you guys think, Sue? Do you think it's right how Mahrez has kind of gone on strike in a way? You guys watched my video where I was saying how notorious Leicester City are to negotiate with because they're very difficult, you know, and I don't know. I just kind of think that clubs have too much power, you know. I mean, so many times they fuck over players all the time. I mean, you know, the famous recent example was Newcastle. You know, Gutierrez, guy had testicular cancer. Some Hollywood shit, comes back last day of the season, scores the goal that keeps him up. Ryan Taylor, so many serious injuries. You know, he played his part as well. After that season, no contract extension. They were told to piss off basically. Clubs don't have any loyalty to players, you know. Clubs only care about you if you're exceptional, you know. That's why Hazard will get more than you know, like a Willian, for example. You know what I mean? I think that Mahrez has showed his loyalty to Leicester because he didn't force a move away after they won the league like Kante did. You know, he could have. In hindsight, he's probably regretting that he didn't do that. You know, I know Leicester have a fantastic squad harmony, relationship, whatever, but again, clubs taking the piss. You know, as I was saying, Leicester City notorious to negotiate with. Every day they'll change the price just like that. You know what I mean? The terms are always changing. as easy as that. And I just think that Mars has definitely been affected by that. Personally, he's 27, he'll be 28. The opportunity for him to go to a big club isn't going to be there all the time now. He's shown his loyalty to Leicester. He's a professional. It comes to a time where a club needs to be like, you know what, we have to let this guy go just morally. You know what I mean? I know the technicalities that if you own the player and he signed a contract, you can do that. It doesn't necessarily mean it's right. And it puts the player in a funny situation because it's like, he can't not perform because then big clubs won't be looking at him anyway. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it's like a piss take too, because it's like, oh, these guys are stopping me from progressing in my career. Because that is, he could have been at Man City, doing things, being seen on a much bigger light, playing in the Champions League. That's not going to happen. I don't know. It just disappoints me when clubs do that, Okay. Stephen Smith, CFC. What position do you think is the best for Kennedy? Right wing is the best. The guy has a ridiculous left foot. Smacks the ball in. I prefer him cutting inside on his left foot. I never understood this thing of Kennedy playing as a left winger. But I really didn't understand. I mean, if you saw this guy, he's like a Hulk. He Robin type of player, cutting inside. You know what I mean? I don't see why it's that hard to use him there. Physically, he's very strong too. I think that's what helps him. I hope he just continues to do bits at Newcastle. I hope that Benitez sees the light, or at least lets him roam across the final third, where sometimes he can play on the right, sometimes he can play on the left. Because I think that's what we, hopefully if the club see he can perform like that, maybe it will have a future. But definitely right wing. Zaki Ali, I think Morris is doing it completely wrong. He's done for putting in a transfer request the last day and expecting the move completely shocked the club. But here's the thing, Zaki, here's the thing. He put in a transfer request, but then it's not as if Morris was perfectly content at just staying at Leicester. And then, last day is like, fuck it, let me put in a transfer request. You got to see it like this. He put in a transfer request because it was a last resort. And the thing is that Mars would have missed out on money in his contract. If he forces a move away, that means, I think the clause was that he wouldn't get, it's not the signing on fee. It's one of those things where you get like a bit of money from the club when you leave. He would have missed out on that, which was worth like $1 million or 2 million or something like that. It really showed you how desperate he was to leave, because remember, in the summer, he wanted to go. Remember the last day of the window? Remember I told you guys he was at the Chelsea Harbour Hotel. Chelsea were trying to negotiate a deal with Leicester. Didn't come to effect because obviously, they wanted ridiculous amounts of money for him. And because, when it comes to negotiation for top players, we're just stupid sometimes, So that didn't help. That wasted his time. And it's just like, he's desperate to leave to play for a bigger club. Because at Leicester, they'll never win a league title or do anything again. He can't be the best player for a mediocre team anymore. So, I understand that. I sympathise with what he's had to do. Of course, even forcing through a transfer request, really, the Leicester board should have been like, well, we can't keep a player that's unhappy. But they're still keeping him. So, again, it just it tells you about the people at the board level for Leicester. Okay. Joanid Razak. What youth players are you desperate to see break through the Chelsea squad? Ooh, okay. Now, I'll tell you the players I want to see break through. I want to see Jada Silva break through. Now, I'll let you guys know something about Jada Silva. I just saw this by accident because it's impossible to see Charlton games. Jada Silva got an assist when Charlton beat Fleetwood Town 3-1, I think, a week or two ago. And something just really took me by surprise and really blew my mind, because Jada Silva was playing at left back, but then he was regularly collecting the ball in the middle of the pitch and in midfield. And for the third goal, that was him collecting the ball in the middle, driving through the middle to play a pass. Now, I was like, what, is this like a false fullback? You know what I mean? Like, we're seeing false defenders with this Frankie de Jong guy at Ajax. Is this a false wing back or inverted wing back or fullback where this guy's fully tucking into midfield? And I was just like, wow. I mean, I couldn't believe a League One team would be using something that sophisticated. But again, I know, what's this guy? Is it Carl Robinson's the manager? Young English manager. And a lot of their young English coaches are starting to do bits now, because You know, they're not the they're on a different level to these older heads. You know, and I was just like, wow, and it's made so much sense because Jada Silva at Chelsea. I mean, he's literally, as Joe Tweedy said, he's our very own David Alaba in terms of, Alaba was originally a midfield player and then he moved to left back. Jada Silva has played left back, left wing back, left midfield, centre attacking mids and a midfield as well. As comfortable, fully complements and symbolises the whole Chelsea youth development mentality in terms of making complete players. You know what I mean? Having a guy like Jada Silva on the left, I mean, it could be pretty revolutionary if it's under the right manager. Conte won't look at him because he's small, so he's going to dismiss him. But it's not right because of the footballing ability he has. And at the end of the day, footballing ability tends to win you more games than physicality, in my opinion. I want to see Jada Silva. I want to see Jeremy Boga. As I said, he was our best youth player out of everyone. I want to see Masinda come back. I want to see Ruben, and obviously we've got Christensen playing now. They're the players I'd like to see, to be honest. They're the main ones because I think they're the very best in terms of what we've done. After that, I want to see Hudson-Odoi and Sterling. You know what I mean? But they're me personally, they're the guys I want to see come back to make it. You guys, I'm actually going to end this live stream pretty soon because it's gone on kind of long now. I'll probably end it in the next I'll probably answer 3 more questions. So if you guys want your question answered now, I suggest you send in a super chat. Nothing crazy, nothing big, and I'll answer that now because I'll probably in the next 5 minutes this stream's going to end. Okay, because there's a lot of questions too. Okay, what other questions are there to answer? Reno87, Nini, do you think Abramovich still can take us to the next level money-wise and compete with the likes of PSG and City? I think we can. Again, we've got to realise Abramovich wasn't the guy in these deals. Obviously, he wasn't with Mourinho and everyone personally negotiating these deals. There's a reason why we're trying to transition away from Roman bringing out his checkbook and paying whatever, because we want to, we're serious about complying with financial fair play, And I just think that, I don't think it's about him not having the ambition. I think there's a new modern structure we're trying to follow. We're trying to stick with doing that. I think, I wouldn't even say City. I think United are a better example. I think Paris Saint-Germain and United, they're anomalies in terms of, no club. I mean, if Real Madrid aren't going to buy him, if they're getting priced out of Pogba and Mbappe, I think that sums it up. If Real Madrid of all clubs are doing that, no club. I mean, to spend 220, 400 million on 2 players, that's football manager stuff. United buying Pogba, giving Raiola 20 million in agent fees. Then Lukaku, Raiola's earning how much on top of that as well. Sanchez giving him some crazy contracts. Yeah, and in a way, I was a bit disappointed with Sanchez because it kind of showed me that it was more the financial state he cared about. But at the same time, I understand, he's 30 years old, or 29, 30. His last big contract before he retires. But footballers, a lot of times we forget, these guys, if it's Sanchez too, he's probably funding a village back in Chile or something. You know what I mean? His family, businesses, charities, building things in Chile to help the community. That's what a lot of these guys constantly do. So I can understand why maybe I want that money because that's my stability forever. My family, their family will be able to live. So I guess I can see it from that side. But it's the thing. I don't think we have to compete financially with City and United and Paris Saint-Germain. We can compete in our own different way. I think we have that solution with our youth academy and system. I don't think money is always necessarily the key in terms of always, being able to compete. Because, I mean, you look at Bayern Munich. Are Bayern Munich spending 100 million plus every year? No, they're not. Once you've got that key structure, once you've got that foundations, all you have to do is slowly improve the team with us 1 or 2 players every year, really. That's how we should be doing things now. Okay. One sec. Mohammed, thanks man. Love your content. Keep up the good work. Really appreciate that super chat, man. Thanks a lot, man. Thanks for that. Yeah, thanks, man. Making me smile in that. You know what? I wish. You know what? Sometimes I'll be honest. I don't even like smiling as much because like when I was younger, I had my retainers. I never fully used to wear them. You know what I mean? I left my retainers when I was in Ghana on holiday, and that's why my gap is how it is. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I was always thinking maybe in the future I might get them like clear retainers to try and fix it, but it's kind of long though, isn't it? Okay, Depeche Rob, I need to answer this guy's question. Definitely praying that one of Jody Morris, sorry, Tuchel's our next manager. I definitely agree too. Sorry. I definitely agree because again, my whole point is I think Chelsea needs to go back to having a Ranieri come back now, you know? I kind of feel, let's say we had a Ranieri-esque manager when we had Hazard at 21, Oscar at 19, 20, you know, etc., etc. What would those guys have been when they were 24? You know what I mean? How much better as players would they be if that was the case? And how would it be? We'd be dominating like crazy right now. And I think as fans, we can accept things if there's a project. I think that definitely could be the key. I think with a Tuchel signing, for example, I think they're good signings in terms of the fact that, you know, here's the reality. Next season, the manager's not going to get 300 million to build a completely different squad. That's not going to be happening. A few key players will be going. I'm guessing probably Pedro, maybe even Willian on top of that. You know, some of these guys will leave. Maybe finally Fabregas will probably be leaving as well. It's not going to be crazy money spent. So I kind of feel that is good now to bring in that philosophy manager to change the direction, because when that guy leaves in the next year or two, then we can bring in a similar manager that can develop the players that have been growing under that guy, and then that's how we can compete. And I keep making this point, in the next few years it's going to be completely different now, because I keep making this point, I say it all the time, Bayern Munich, Madrid, Juventus, Barcelona, a lot of these guys are old. Chiellini 33, Ribéry 34, Robin's 33, will be 34, Ronaldo's getting old. Look at the season he's having, it's getting completely awful. These guys will be spending like crazy because they need to replace the world-class ability and talent that's going. Now, me personally, this is why I'm an advocate for the long-term approach, because it's then we can have a squad ready to compete for everything in the next year or two, or probably the next 2 years, if we have that philosophy and model to follow. You know, if we're going in the right direction, that as long as we qualify for the Champions League, qualify for Europe, that's what I want us to do, because then we'll be ready to compete, and those other clubs will be in transition a lot. Do you think Real Madrid will replace Ronaldo? I mean, if they get Neymar, you know. Do you think Bayern Munich will replace Ribéry and Robin just like that? No, there's going to be periods where they'll bring in one guy, doesn't do as well, they'll be looking for other replacements. You know what I mean? We don't have to be in that situation anymore. And this is why I'm an advocate for focusing on the long term. Okay, sorry, I got a text. Okay, a few more questions. Actually, I'll finish this in the next 10 minutes, actually, because I like answering these questions. Cheeky, as long as we don't get another bus parker, then I'm satisfied. Yes, I agree. I'm tired of seeing everything being parked at Stamford Bridge. Just like the pitch needs a rest, you know what I mean? Samo Sammy, Asensio is our hyped. Why would we spend 100 million on a player who does not start? I kind of agree. And I kind of think we've got Mason Mount. And I keep making this point. He's exactly identical, even in terms of the freaking hairstyle they have, to Asensio. So I think this is what I mean. It'd be disappointing for the club to spend crazy amounts of money on a guy that's not yet world class, but has a bit more experience compared to a guy that's younger and is an identical player stylistically. I hope that he doesn't come, to be honest. Okay, just Hitman Nini. Would you do analysis on other clubs? Any plans to go on UFF? You know what? In regards to UFF, yeah. I mean, I've spoken, but I really don't understand in terms of like what I can offer. I don't really have any set role. I mean, I think originally they told me to just produce bespoke content, but it's like, what content could I really produce that would get people to watch it, kind of thing. And I kind of felt like, there's not really any role for me to do anything. So I'm not quite. I mean, who knows in the future? I mean, me. I'm just hoping to grow. Hopefully, God willing, I can get past 30,000 subs before the summer starts. Hopefully that will give me some more clout when it comes to things, because when it's coming to like talking to sponsors, for example, the people are trying to fuck me over a lot, offering me shitty deals. They're rude. You don't really respect you enough when it comes to replying back on time. All these types of things, or offering you really stupid deals, and it's just like, I'm not that money oriented. Like, for example, I had this one company that they wanted to sell fake shirts and stuff, and I'm like, I'm not gonna be promoting a company selling fake this, fake that on my channel. You know what I mean? It's like, come on. So, but again, it's just, it's just how life is, and, just got to live with it, really. Everyday Monday. Where do you rate Lampard with other Prem midfielders? In my opinion, I kind of feel he's the best one, because I think it's unique. Not even the goals and assists. Lampard had an incredible work rate. To me, when I think of box to box, a real box to box player is that type of player. People trying to call people like Kante box to box, they're not box to box players, because they do nothing in the final third. They don't contribute with goals. I think Lampard, to get 20 goals consistently, getting close to scoring 30 goals in a season for a midfielder who's also creating. He was also a playmaker as well. And what I loved about him was that every year he was adding something new to his game. Near the end, he could start scoring with his head. Honestly, the most complete. I don't think I'll see a midfielder as complete for a while, to be honest. I don't know why he doesn't get as much respect. It does kind of baffle me in a way. Maybe it's because he doesn't. I don't know. Gerrard, he had a few amazing moments in terms of like individual goals scored, but if you were to compare them game by game and in general, I think Lampard was just a better player, Okay. Sorry, you guys. Okay. What other questions can I ask? Proud Chelsea fan. I love your cons. Thanks, man. Thanks for that. MC Moyes, we need a guy like Busquets. You know what? We did kind of have a guy before like Busquets. No one laughed at me, but you could say John Obi Mikel. Busquets to me is more of an anchor man. That guy, when Barca are in attack, he'll drop deep with the defenders to form like a back three in a way. Very composed in his own half. 1-2 passes can play out fairly easily. Very easily. That comes down to the system. For example, would Busquets really do much in the current Conte system now? I'm not quite too sure, if I'm being honest. You know what I mean? And I think sometimes this is where, this is why I'm always an advocate for having a strong system, because it brings the maximum out of very, very good players. You know what I mean? I think he's a I don't like him personally. Actually, you know what? I can't even say I don't like. It's not that deep, but he's got a lot of annoying moments in terms of cheating, play acting. That Thiago Motta incident, I just can't forget that. You know what I mean? So, and it's always just like a cunt basically when he plays for Barcelona. So there's that too. Swap Bakayoko for Mikel. The funny thing is, Mikel would probably suit what Conte wants more than what Bakayoko's doing. But then, Conte wasn't even really looking at Mikel at all, was he? So there's that. Aina, I think I need to pronounce this. Aina Paul Steinson. Nini, are you going to Russia for the World Cup? How will England do? You know what? I'd love to. I don't even know how I'd be able to go. I don't know. I think, I've been lucky. I have been very fortunate. I've been to World Cups before. I was at the Euros. I was there for 2 weeks as well. I saw a lot of good games. I think my favourite one was Germany versus Poland. So I've been fortunate. I've been to a lot of European away games with Chelsea. My first one was when I was a kid. We went to Monaco when we lost, obviously, 4-2 in that game. That was amazing. So I have been fortunate. I'd love to go to Russia. I've been to other World Cups too. In Germany, I was there. I saw Ghana lose to Brazil when Ronaldo scored his last goal in the World Cup. That was a good moment. Yeah, I've been lucky. But I love football. But hopefully, who knows what happens? Who knows? Oh, Thornsteisen. Okay, I'll get that right next time. Okay, DJ Rex Forever, a nice name. What do you think Chelsea are missing in midfield? I think we're missing that guy that can beat the press type of thing. When he gets close, then he can play around that with a quick pass, incisive pass, dribbling ability as well. I think that's what we kind of need. I think when I release that final video for this series, it will make a lot of sense what I'm trying to say because I'm going to be using footage and examples, so it'll make it easier to explain. Okay, okay. There's one question about Barcelona. Okay. Where is the Barcelona question? Sorry, I got one question I need to answer. Where is it? Okay, MC Moyes. Starting 11 against Barcelona. That's a good question. Obviously Courtois in goal. Now, for me personally, I would like to see Luis with Christensen and obviously maybe an Aspie. I think this type of game with Rudiger, he can be very. He lacks some type of finesse at times. I think he gives away too many fouls. His positioning can be suspect. I think he's better playing on the right compared to playing on the left. I think with Luis, you get that leadership, and I think with big games like that, where it's not going to come down to Conte and his amazing system being able to beat Barcelona. I think it's going to come down to that old Chelsea spirit of fighting hard, digging deep, playing above the system, and I think Luis kind of personifies those big games. I think he'd be an important figure to have in a game like that. Plus, with Christensen, his positioning, good on the very good one-on-one tackling. He, I don't see him getting dragged out of position like crazy by off-the-ball runs because he thinks ahead. He knows how to, and he's played against them already before. I think I can't even remember. So I like to see him there. I think with Aspie too. Aspie is just that solid defensive ability you get in midfield. Now this is going to be hard because I'm going to be going into depth. I'm going to be playing a Barcelona week. Obviously, the week following the game. I still haven't decided yet if 3-4-3 or 3-5-2 should be the way. I've given up thinking that, if we use a 3-4-3, we'd use a high pressing system. I mean, it's not going to happen. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be surprised to see a 3-5-2 being used, to be honest. I wouldn't be surprised to see, obviously, Kante. It's interesting to see how he plays in that game. Um, I'd like to see Fabregas because I think it's key to have counter-attacking passes against Barca. I'm not gonna trust back Kante or Baka or Drinkwater to play that right pass. If Hazard's made a run to beat someone, I think Cesc definitely needs to play in that game too. And personally, I like to see Drinkwater. I don't think Bakayoko for a game like that. I'm not too sure, to be honest. I think we know how he loves to give away fouls. Can you imagine against Barcelona? These guys go down like nothing. They know how to win a free kick like easy. I don't think it's not a game yet for Bakayoko, to be honest. And I think obviously wing backs Moses and Alonso. I mean, Palmieri. I mean, I'm hoping to see a Palmieri play. Who knows what this guy can do? I'm actually excited to see what he's going to become because the attributes he possesses is very, it's what I like to see. Someone that can take a man on, beat someone. He can. Someone that can like dominate a flank by himself. I think Emerson's that type of player. So be interesting to see. But I mean, realistically, Alonso will be playing with Moses. Then up front, Hazard with Morata. Maybe with Morata being out for a while, it'll be like a new fresh start for him. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's it. I'd like to see probably Courtois, Luis, Christensen, Aspie, um, Cesc, Kante. I mean, I'd like to see Willian in midfield. It won't happen. Probably Drinkwater with Alonso, Moses, Morata, and Hazard. I think that's what's probably going to happen, to be honest. But anyway, you guys, I'm going to probably answer one more question and then keep things moving. The green screen, it's not even that, it's the lighting. I'm waiting for something to come because obviously with the green screens, you can't have a shadow coming behind you. So I'm just waiting for this, this stand for my light source. But one more question I'm going to answer. I mean, this is probably the best time for a super chat to make it the most epic question. But actually, it's probably too late for that now. Okay, what's a good one to ask? Dang, all the questions are coming in now. This is what I say, the super chat, it takes me, I don't have to decide what to answer. It makes it easier. Shit, this is hard now. I had about 5 that just came in. Okay, Nini applied for director of football. So hopefully one day. Who are the leaders in the squads? I think even in regard, we've got leaders, Cesc, Gaspi, Louise. I mean, they're there. They're not, maybe not in the traditional sense in terms of what the Terrys and Drogba's used to be, but I mean, you could say that they are leaders. And we're not losing games because we don't have leaders. That's definitely not the case, Okay. Do you think Quasi J1 every do you think for a system to work for Morata, Chelsea should get another striker to play alongside him, similar at Juventus? Who would that striker be? Well, again, this is probably why Conte is desperate for that target man, because beforehand, is Joe Tweedy your favourite? Nah. Honestly, you know what, you guys, Tweedy's not on this stream, so I'm going to be really honest about him. I can't stand the guy. He's got such an ego. He thinks he knows everything about Chelsea. Nah, I'm messing around. All right. But again, Conte's love for that target man, I don't see. I mean, here's the thing. You know what? I just think the whole approach with how Conte likes to seem to attack pretty pointless, is because at Juventus they didn't score many goals. They just didn't score. I think the last season was when their strikers came any close to looking like actual goal scorers. I mean, for example, when they won the league in his first season, imagine if Vidal was top goal scorer with 12 goals. I mean, Vidal, and most of those goals were penalties too. So it's really not saying much. And beforehand, not once until Costa had someone scored 20 goals in a season for Conte. So that shows you how much he doesn't care about, obviously, goal scoring and attacks. So in a way, maybe it'll always be difficult for Morata, because you're never going to get enough clear-cut chances, are you? So I don't know. Personally, I think for Morata to strive, you need to have 2 guys around him. You need to keep the ball. Let him focus on runs in the box instead of dropping deep all the time, Favoured replacement for Conte, as I was saying earlier at the start of the stream, Pochettino is my guy. Hazard or Neymar? Oh, I have to... You know what? These questions, it does make you think. I mean, if let's be really, really honest. I mean, how could he really differentiate who's better between Neymar or Hazard, really? This is why I kind of like to see things in like spectrums, or tiers. I think with your tier 1 people, I think that is the reason why they're in the tier 1 is because they're hard to differentiate really who's better compared to this guy. I mean, I know with like, maybe with your football managers and FIFAs, we're used to seeing stats and attributes beside players. You know what I mean? Real life is not like that. For example, let's say someone had like 17 passing in a game, and you see this guy's got 18 passing. How can you really differentiate, the importance of between one stat? You know what I mean? I just think it's hard to really differentiate. I don't know. I mean, it's a cop-out, but I think they're both as good as each other, if I'm being honest. Giroud, thank you, man, for that super chat. We should stop buying passion merchants like Baka. I agree. I don't think, passion shouldn't be 100% of everything. I think we need to maybe have, it's okay to have some passion, but that shouldn't be the main focus for winning everything. Sometimes I feel it's like maybe Atletico Madrid got Chelsea gassed. I mean, they won the league purely on passion and work rate. I mean, it was incredible to see. Like when I watched them that season, they won the league. I felt excited. I felt pumped. There was like an adrenaline. Like, yeah, you're seeing people running like it's, like their lives depended on it. I hadn't seen something like that visceral before. You know what I mean? But of course, he can't sustain it because they're not really the same team when it comes to pressing in that regard. So that's what I mean. Passion can only take you so far, but then I think ability really is what really makes your life easier in the long run. Okay, Tammy to push into the first team next season. I think another loan, Omar. I said that earlier. A loan would be much better. Preferably going to a club with a buyback fee. I think that'd be even better, if I'm being honest. Valeri, yeah. Isco, yeah. I like Isco too. When's Morata back? I need to check, to be honest. If okay, David Reynolds. If Hazard leaves Chelsea, who would you think would fill that spot? Oh, that's a scary question. If Hazard left Chelsea, I mean Griezmann. You know what? I've watched him a lot. I like him, but I kind of feel he's a bit overrated. So I'm not gonna. Not in the sense that he's a shit player, but in the sense that people think he's like utterly world class, and he's easily worth 100 million. I just don't think he is, and I don't think he's utterly world class, if I'm being honest. Isco should be a priority signing to replace Cesc. Yep, answered that earlier. Cass Gambret, annoying that we sold Chalobah and spent 40 million on a player of similar age and has proven so far, hope he gets better, that he wasn't ready for the Premier League as opposed to Chalobah, who had passion. Yep, that's what I'm trying to say. And it's just, you know what, my video coming out tomorrow is going to really talk about these points a lot. And yeah, this is what I mean. Imagine if we weren't focusing on signings like that, spending money like that, wasting time negotiating for deals like that. Imagine if we had more time and money to spend on signing better players and doing our best to bring them in. I think long term it would just be more beneficial for everyone, really. I was making this point before. Baka isn't really necessarily on a different level to Chalobah. When I saw him for Monaco, I thought he was just decent. I didn't even think he was that amazing, if I'm being honest. So yeah, there's that. But yeah, it's a complete waste. I mean, really, we've never once seen Chalobah put in any performance as bad as anything that Baka's done so far this year. I think that really sums it up, to be honest. There's no way that he would perform the same way, you know. And I just think that, you know, you've seen that you could probably say there's times that Chalobah's a bit better than Bakayoko. Especially, remember those times when he's had to play a similar box-to-box role. Remember that time, you know, early on during our 13-game unbeaten run, which is our best periods under Conte. And well, I don't think we'll ever recreate that. He was coming on, maybe playing 3-5-2 at the end, playing that more box-to-box role where he was pushing up to obviously support the guys up front, and also being a number in the midfield as well. I remember that backheel pass he made for Moses. I don't think Bakayoko would do something like that as composed in the final third, and you know he does look much more comfortable on the board, Chalobah, compared to Bakayoko. He's used to the pace already. I just don't see why Conte didn't like him. I don't know. Maybe his tackling. I don't know. These are the decisions I can't really understand all the time, you know. I keep saying I'll answer one more. Literally, I've got to make this the last one now. Alex spiked balloon. Who do you want to bring in, or bring though? Okay, let me say that again. Why am I speaking like an idiot all of a sudden? What is wrong with me? Who do you want to bring in or bring through as the other side of Hazard in a 3 up front formation, 4-3-3 or 3-4-3? Like I'm saying, I want someone on the right hand side that has a left foot that can cut inside and that can do some bits. We're missing that. I honestly think that, let's say for example, it would make Moses' life a bit easier. How often do we see on the right hand side that the play slowed down? Willian is much better in the middle and on the left where he can cut inside. Infinitely better than what he does on the right hand side where he's stifled. If you had that guy on the left on the right that has a left foot that can cut in, that will free up more space for Moses, who then will have much more time to maybe beat someone one-on-one, instead of having 2 stationary figures in front of him that you can't really dribble past because they're not budging and they're not moving, and there's no one in our team making a late man run or a third man run to free up space for him. So you know what I mean. I think that's definitely that. But yeah. Leon Bailey would be exciting. I'd like to see that. You know, you guys, you need to follow this guy called CFC Video. Now, you know, guys like Tiggs and him, obviously Antonio Conte, but again, CFC Video, he's very impressive because he has footage of obviously players in the loan army going out, and you know, I thought Masunda's performances were decent. This guy definitely has a future at the club. I think the summer's going to be massive for these guys, really, you know. It's going to really be decisive in terms of who's really going to make it. Because, you know, there can't be any more Lewis Bakers going out on loan. There will have to be moves. The club, buyback fees, just do it. Come on, set the trend in England, you know. It's just best for their careers, and then it's just better for you in the long term, you know. Is Richarlison a good option? That's by Akash Singh. I think Richarlison is a guy that needs a few more years. I don't think he's necessarily ready just yet, in my opinion. You know, I know sometimes we can get excited by these young prospects, but then it's very rare that a 20-year-old, for example, is going to be able to do bits straight away, come into a big club. Playing for a big club is not just talent alone. It's about the mental pressure. It's about that mental fortitude. You know, there's a lot of factors behind how to become a success, you know. And I don't know, for Richarlison, I think, honestly, if I was him, I'd try get a move to Tottenham, develop there a bit, be allowed to make mistakes and improve, and then maybe look to play for a bigger club when you're 25, 24. I think this is why I'm impressed with Bailey, because he's had that mentality since young. He stayed at Ghent on purpose. He didn't move to Chelsea back then. He went to Leverkusen because he wanted to play. He's playing. Now he's getting linked with big clubs. I think he did it the right way, to be honest, you know. And it's no surprise that players that do it the right way obviously tend to have more successful careers in the long term. Hidden visibly, one more question. Oh, fuck. Alright, one more question. I'll do it. Richarlison tore us apart last game. Yeah, he did well in the last game, but here's the thing. You got to look at the consistency. You know, has Richarlison constantly playing on that level in every single game? I don't think so. I thought Delafeu was more dangerous compared to Richarlison in that game. I'm not saying he's a bad player. He's good, but he's just not the Chelsea level just yet to really help upgrade the team or provide something new. You know what I mean? If he was signed, he'd have to be someone that comes off the bench or you use as a rotation option, but not for first choice in terms of, you know, helping us challenge for the league or Europe. You know, he's not there just yet. What do you think of Kennedy flourishing in an attacking position? Yeah, that's what I mean. On the right-hand side, this guy, I'm looking forward to him. He's doing bits already. I'm just praying that he ends on the right-hand side, cutting in with that left foot, spacking goals in for fun. You know what I mean? I'm just looking forward to that. Sarah Wilkins, Nini, what's Van Ginkel's style of play? Box-to-box, as in the classic type of box-to-box player. When Mourinho first season, when he came in 2012-13, he did play in like the Matic position, you know, in that midfield too. He can do that. Really, Van Ginkel's a classic box-to-box where you got to play him in a three-man midfield because he can score with his head, which is impressive. Lampard couldn't do that at his age. He can score with penalties, which Lampard could do. He can set passes as well. Very good work rate. This is what I mean. I honestly think 4-3-3 in the future should be the formation. More players will get a chance. We've got a lot of players that suit that system. You know, I've been impressed, and I don't know, Van Ginkel, if Chelsea aren't going to use you, you got to fuck off from PSV. You got to go to a bigger club and, you know, really do justice for your career, you know. Okay. The Cock Destroyer. Damn, what a name. Favourite Chelsea Champions League home match you've ever watched? Oh, shit. Oh, that is a good one. One of my favourite ones, because that was when I was like, wow, Chelsea are one of the biggest teams in the world. That was when we beat Bayern Munich 4-2 all them years back, when Ballack was playing for them and he had to dive to win a penalty. And I was thinking, right, Michael Ballack diving against us, that's like, you know, that, you know, this guy's desperate to win, and we're a massive problem right now. The way we won that game, the goals we scored, I was like, wow, this is, you know, people weren't giving us any hope in these games because we were like seen as a new kind of powerhouse. No one really knew how we really perform in Europe, and to just comfortably beat them like that. One game I really love, I was actually at this game, the Mestalla against Valencia. You remember when I think we were down to 10 men? I think we beat them 2-1, Essien playing as a right back, but we completely dominated the whole game. You know, dominated. But this was a Valencia team that had Silva, David Villa, was Mata playing for him at the time? I can't remember, but Joaquin was there, Vicente, you know, all these guys, Canizares in goal, Ayala in defence, you know, they were still a big problem, a big deal. Completely dominated them. And I was just like, I want us to be that club again, you know. Remember when we used to go down to 10 men and you still comfortable you're going to win a game? Remember that feeling watching us play, knowing that the win was going to come as a matter of time? Remember that feeling when it's the last 5 minutes of a game and you still know we can come back to win a game? Imagine that feeling when we're losing and you know we're going to come back to win it eventually. we need to get back to being that level. We need to get back to being that team. And that's what I really want us to become. But anyway, you guys, I'm going to end the live stream right now. Obviously, thank you everyone that supported me with super chats. I mean, honestly, it means a lot. It's glad to see that I'm supported. Honestly, it does mean a lot. I mean, if I was to do, I'll in the community tab, I'm gonna do a poll. Maybe if I should do these Q&A live streams once a week with people like that, because I'm thinking too of bringing back the Snapchat Q&A, because I do have plans, especially for the next season. For the next season, I'd love to have a website up and running, because I like guys, subscribers to the channel. I'll always say subscribers. You know what? I'll never say fans. Like, come on, I'm a fan of the club too. Like, I'm not that guy. But I love if, like, you guys, obviously, you're just as passionate about football and the club as me. Maybe you guys have a voice where you could maybe write in articles for the website. A platform where you guys can obviously talk to each other and discuss football with yourselves. Maybe, make friendships, whatever. I think that would be, good to try to create something like that. So that's what my plan is for the third season, to get something like that. So yeah, it'd be the matter of fact of just getting a website, really. So that's it, because I'm getting to this point now where I'm thinking, with what I'm doing on the channel, with the other things I'm hoping to produce and make, I do get the idea that I'd have to kind of move to become full-time in a way. You know what I mean? Because it's like, with all the work I'm putting in, I'm going to be putting in more work too. There's going to be a lot more of these analysis stuff in particular coming out, because I had the videos I always wanted to make originally. I'm thinking that, maybe I might have to consider in the future making this full-time, to really, be like the premium, source of, like football content and Chelsea content, So I'm just trying to work and think of plans on how I can really get to that stage where I can do that, because I kind of feel with the work I'm putting in now, it will be kind of a disappointment if in the future, I have to maybe make less videos. I can't make as much, or if I got to, maybe reduce the quality by just speaking from the dome instead of doing edits and writing scripts and structuring videos and stuff. I'd prefer to keep it like that, because visually it makes it better, and obviously you guys enjoy the content like that. But yeah, you guys, obviously thank you for everyone who sent the super chats. It means a lot. It was fun doing this. This is why I like doing it. I'm lucky, because sometimes I look at the other fan channels and I think I'm lucky I don't have really any idiots really on this channel. In the comment section you get like a handful, but most people here, I can have a discussion with football on. I get that they get the same ideas and mentalities about stuff, and this is why it makes the discussion kind of fun. Sammy, yeah, there is actually an Instagram. I don't use it. My friend's running it. I don't know what he's doing with it now, to be honest. I'm gonna get the social media shit up and running. I need to obviously, work more on Facebook and Instagram. I need to obviously improve on that, but I'll definitely get there. I think Instagram might be a good start, like you guys are saying, Josh and Sammy. Yeah, I'll definitely have to consider doing that. Rad's Chelsea fan. What happened to the other guy that used to be on this channel? Very long story. Thank God you didn't watch that embarrassing live stream that I was forced to do because you told me to do it. Oh, I don't even want to get into that awful period back then. It's good we both moved on. Me and him have made up. We're all cool. So that's just in the past, really. I'm not like a. I don't have vendettas. I'm kind of easygoing, and shit happens. I'm not sentimental about it. I can just easily forget about things and just move on. So I think that's why I don't have any wrinkles on my forehead. And long may that continue. But yeah, you guys, thank you for watching. I'm the NEFC. This is Blue Lines TV. Signing out.